Brexit and Trump. How was it done? It wasn't the Russians. The historic victories of Brexit and Trump were not won in Moscow. That's just a story put about by the defeated liberals and globalists, partly because they make good propaganda in their insane vendetta against Vladimir Putin, and partly because they don't want to admit that they were beaten not by a superpower, but by ordinary patriots. Ordinary patriots with an extraordinary grasp of the potential of Facebook to smash the corporate media's death grip on the exchange of information and the formation of public opinion. This was David and Goliath all over again, small groups of determined amateurs, seizing an opportunity sent by Providence just when it seemed that resistance against the New World Order, and the satanic powers behind it, was futile. But, as ever, the good Lord helps those who help themselves. And so both the Brussels and Washington elites were struck down by volunteer peasants' revolt, an insurrection of the forgotten, an uprising of the powerless, because it turned out that we were not powerless after all. We built the alt-media, and we changed the course of history. Of course, it wasn't just the Knights Templar International, and it wasn't all done on a shoestring. Some parts of the great traditionalist fight back, such as Fox News, RT and Breitbart, have been funded with many millions of dollars every year. Others, such as WikiLeaks and InfoWars, have grown from small beginnings to become significant businesses in the war for hearts and minds. But let us compare Breitbart, widely seen by the liberals as the biggest player in the alt-media revolution after WikiLeaks, with our own KTI. Breitbart's articles reach around 40 million people a week in the USA. That's a huge amount of right-wing ideas, and it all enters the public consciousness, discrediting and undermining the liberal elite's narrative of a globalism which benefits everyone, of a multicultural utopia. The truth is that both Brexit and Trump were won not by middle-class conservatives, voting the way they were always going to vote, but by millions of mainly middle-aged people in blue-collar, working-class communities in the north of England, or the equivalent Rust Belt states of America. People who in many cases had given up voting years ago. People who were not expected to vote, but did. Facebook became the modern-day version of the long-gone days, when working people came to their own conclusions by talking in pubs and bars, ending the lost liberal decades in which the masses took their opinions from the most devastating tool of mind control ever invented in human history, the TV soap. Who was behind those meme and video clips? A small army of unknown, unsung heroes, who took their work and popularized it. A number of pioneering social media experts, of course, especially in the USA. But the truth can now be told. We were reaching 40 million Americans with pro-Trump memes every week, coincidentally the same reach as Breitbart. We in the Knights Templar International, our network of more than a dozen newsfeed sites, and several other major Facebook players were responsible for a huge amount of the material that helped turn out the blue-collar vote and so win both Brexit and Trump. We can tell you this without giving away any secrets because, finally, the liberals have worked much of it out anyway. In the last couple of weeks there have been articles crediting the KTI with having this historic impact published in, among others, establishment giants, the Times of London, the New York Times, the Daily Mail, the Boston Globe, the Daily Mirror, plus the main national papers in Scotland, Hungary and several Balkan states. Some of their coverage is, of course, somewhat sensationalist. But the crucial facts are these. During Brexit, our network's combined Facebook posts were reaching a considerable amount more people in Britain than those of the official Brexit campaign. We were reaching millions of people who without our raw, emotional, deep-seated appeals would probably have stuck with their habit of not voting. That is what made our effort so devastatingly effective and so decisive. How was it possible? Because we are very good at what we do. We have our own long years of experience with the science and art of influencing people and events. And we have made it our business also to study and take inspiration from the ancient ability and determination of the original Knights Templar, to fight the good fight not just on the spiritual plane, but also on this earth, as mortal men, with our wits and the tools of our trades, as well as with our prayers. We helped change history because, my fellow Templars, you stood up and were counted. We have only been able to have this remarkable, historic impact because thousands of you have joined us and because hundreds of you have become regular and generous donors. In the case of some of our members, they are in a position for that generosity to be substantial. In the case of others, it is a matter of the widow's mite, the small amounts which represent every last penny that those giving can afford, and then some more that they really can't. We thank all of you, but we are especially touched and inspired when we receive those widows' mites. So, my fellow knights in the shadows, my fellow warriors against the arrogance and evil of the liberal elite and all their worldly powers, I thank you. The Templars' ruling body, the Council of Nine, thank you. Together, we have helped change the course of history, and now, there is more work to be done, more truths to tell, more dragons to slay. Dus Volt, Dus Volt, Dus Volt.